Hello and welcome back. A project I've been working on for the past week or so is to try to reduce the RF noise that's coming through my radio to get the background noise as quiet as possible. Fortunately, I live somewhere where I don't have a lot of external noise raising my background noise, but I do have a few things around the office that are producing some RF interference, so I thought I would work on solving that. One of them being my computer. So I read a cheap way to do this is through ferrite beads and a low pass filter. So let's talk about these two things. Before I started on this project, to be honest, I really didn't even know what a ferrite bead was. But I have noticed them before. Like here I have a power supply for an old Gateway computer. And I always wondered on the cable, on the power cable, what these were. Well, now I know they're ferrite beads. And the job of a ferrite bead is to prevent electromagnetic interference in two directions, from the device and going into the device. Now the ferrite beads on this power supply, this is, which I didn't know until recently when I was shopping power supplies, this is called a switching power supply. You have a switching power supply, and you can also have a regulated power supply. This one right here is my regulated power supply that I use. And over here is my switching power supply. Now, switching power supplies by nature are a little bit more noisy and produce more RF interference. And, if you get a high quality switching power supply, it's going to have the filters or the ferrite beads built in already to try to reduce the noise. Now, I went on Amazon and I bought a pack of 20 different size ferrite beads for a little bit under $10. Now I realized you might get what you pay for, but they had pretty good reviews, so I thought it's only $10. I'll give them a try and see what happens. And how these work is you put them over the cable and then you snap them on. Now, in my case of the computer interference, I traced it to this keyboard. My son likes to use my computer for gaming, and this computer here has all sorts of lights and puts out all sorts of RF interference. Now, I noticed it already had a ferrite bead on it, but I went ahead and I started with one as close to the input as I could. I noticed it cut it back on my radio. I put two of them on, and I don't really know. Like I said, I'm new about learning about ferrite beads, but I read somewhere where, if one doesn't work, try another one. And with two of them on, I noticed that it completely stopped the RF noise. So actually there's three of them on here. But so I was very pleased with that. I got rid of the source of the RF noise from my computer. Okay, so while I was at it, I went over to my regulated power supply and put a ferrite bead on all the wires, each wire that went into or came out of the regulated power supply. Now, on my switching power supply, I noticed when I would turn it on, I would hear my RF noise would go up on my CB. It would drop down. This is actually a pretty quiet switching power supply, but I went ahead and put some ferrite beads on here. I wrapped them through a couple times to make sure they're tight here. And then I put three more on here. Is this overkill? Probably, but it did cut back considerably the RF interference on my background noise. All right, so let's give it a try. Here you can hear my background noise right now. It's fairly quiet. Let's go ahead and turn on the switch to my switching power supply where I have all the ferrite beads, and let's see what it sounds like. On, off, on, off. So there you can see it. The ferrite beads did a great job on blocking any RF interference from the power supply. All right, the second thing I did was buy a low pass filter. And what this does is this one stops any signal above 30 megahertz. So the CB band runs on 27 megahertz. So anything below 30 is going to be blocked. And from what I've read, it blocks it in both directions, coming in and going out. Now, this brand right here I bought it on Amazon. I think it was around $35 I paid for it. It's made by RM Italy. And I also realized that's also a amp that they make. So I did a little more research, and I was reading these were used when people had amps on CBs or have amps on CB. Not so much as a problem anymore, but it would interfere with local TV stations, the lower stations. I think they were below 8, so probably around channel 5, channel 2, 4. So this would stop the interference to nearby TVs. And also, from what I've read, if you have high SWR, when you have a cheaper amp, this will stop the harmonics that come from your CB, and it magnifies it. And that can help with adjusting your SWR. But the purpose I bought this for was to reduce background noise in my CB, which it does. So there you have it. There's kind of a low-cost solution for RF noise. I'd be interested to hear any thoughts or comments on what I did, and maybe something you've done to reduce the noise. But like I said, this has worked pretty well for me, so I'm happy with the results, and I thought I'd share it with you. Thanks for watching, and let's hope Skip picks up soon, and I will see you later.